What's up, Scoop Podcast? I'm your host, Erica Crouppen, and on today's episode, we have a guest. We love guests on this podcast. We have Daniel with Scoop Brothers. Welcome to the podcast, Daniel.
Thanks, Erica. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm super. I'm really excited to have you. I know we've talked about this before, and schedules weren't aligning. So thank you for giving me your time today. If you can, just give our listeners, give us like the highlight reel. How did you get into the poop scooping industry?
So, short story, I went to a party and the person that was hosting the party actually had this on the side. And basically, throughout talking through the night, it was the best concept ever to do on the side because I was doing construction before. So, I was always entrepreneurial, but I didn't know it. So, did that. And we came home and told my wife, well, she was in bed and she was like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm trying to draw up a business plan over here. She's like, for what? It's like scooping dog poop. And the first thing she said was, just go to sleep. Just go to sleep. So I came back to South Carolina, and I think a week later, I tried to launch it. I did the hard Facebook post, like little flyers. Like started real small just to kind of get the concept down. And here we are 6 years later and growing pretty steady every year.
So let's dive a little deeper back into that. You said you went back home. So where were you at when you were thinking
I was
about
down in
this?
Florida.
Okay. All right. Florida, there's a lot of companies out there, and
There
there's always
is.
like, a lot more now. Okay, so you come back home, you're drawing up your business plan, and you tell your wife this. She tells you to go to sleep. And so, what was the timeline like between you heard about the idea and you actually launched the business?
I would say a max of 1 month.
So you moved quickly. That
Oh yeah,
is really, really important. Is to move quick.
yeah. Just because there was nothing around here. There were, I mean, you had the top franchise companies here that have been here for 15, 20 years, and then there was me. That was it. And then Rock Hill is like a growing community. Everybody wants to move from north down to here, so it was just steadily growing, and everybody's getting dogs. And then we ended up having our third cane corso. So we like our big dogs, and we were doing it here anyways. So then we just kind of spread out from there, and then went into Charlotte and just kind of built our little bubble. And then now we're just filling in the bubble.
No, that's really cool. So does your wife help you in the business, or is it just you? Like, what does that look like?
She does all my hard emails.
Is she really good at communication?
Oh yeah, she's a vice president of a property management company, so she controls all her business and all of that side, and I just kind of get her to basically water down the fires whenever we have them.
That that is nice. That's something that I actually really struggled with was having those difficult conversations. And then I hired my VA, and they've been able to kind of help buffer
Yeah,
between. And so actually now, because when I first started the business, I was like, I'm the owner. My name's Erica. Like, I don't know if it was like very like selfish or egotistical. I'm not really too sure. But now moving forward, I pretend like I'm not even the owner. Like if I'm in a backyard scooping, I don't even let people know I'm the owner. I'm a technician. Or if I'm having a conversation, I'm office staff type deal. Because I would take things so personally. Like it would hurt. It would literally hurt to have these difficult conversations like bill collections, or we have to terminate you because you're a bad customer, whatever it is. But like removing myself from that allows me to have those conversations a little bit more carefree.
yeah, absolutely. I'm the same way. I'll just sometimes go like, they have my cell phone number, which is the business number also, which kind of sucks, but it's good in the same way. They're always reaching out to me, and as soon as like it's just the way the world is. As soon as your phone beeps, you're going to look at it, like no matter what you're doing. So clients usually call me all the time. And I'm even in their backyards, they'll text me and say, hey, can you let the technician know? And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. And it's me out there. Or just like you, we're going in the yards cleaning and they don't even know who I am, who the owner is. It's just a random guy in the backyard that works for them. And I try to keep it like that. I don't know why, but I do.
I don't know, it just makes
It
things a
helps.
little yeah, a little less personal. So if I don't know if there is a complaint or there is an issue, it's not like they're attacking you directly. It's like your
Yeah.
business. And it's
Well, for
weird.
the
Like I don't
owner. straight to the
Yeah,
jugular.
it does. It hurt. It does. It really hurts. Okay, so you've been in business for 6 years. Things are growing like crazy. We have a lot of newer people that are listening to the podcast because, as you know, we're getting a lot of traction online, just the industry in general. So, what did your first year in business look like?
Um, it was slow growing. It's typically slow growing. You're going to get maybe the first 100, pushing for the first 100. Set that as your goal. Um, and then the biggest thing is branding. Put your name out there as much as possible. Put it on everything. I mean, you need trucks, banners, go to schools, go to sponsorship like the baseballs, the softballs, the tennis, put them across the schools, anywhere like a soccer mom or anybody like that area. Because I mean, your target audience is like 30 to 40 females typically. And that's usually a young family. So yeah, it's just big in branding and marketing and just putting back into the business that don't get stingy with it. Put it back into the business, let it grow for a couple years. It'll all come back around and work for you.
Yeah, I'm impressed by you have like big trucks. Like, does is your fleet all big trucks, or is that just like your truck?
That was so the big truck was my first truck I ever bought. So
Okay.
I started this company and that's all I had. So I was just like, hey, it's the biggest truck out here. So let's just wrap it and get it wrapped. So it turned into a big poop truck. And then now I have a fleet of Ford Rangers. I bought one Ford Ranger. It was like an '02, '03. And then my OCD cannot let me get anything else than Ford Rangers. So now I have about 6 Ford Rangers sitting out front.
No, that's cool. Okay, so you have the 4 vehicles. Are those vehicles running full time now?
Yes. I have everybody on 4 days a week.
Hmm.
That way, so they're pushing around 32 to 35 hours. Um, that way, it gives me that fifth day if I have a call out, if I have somebody sick, or rain days. That gives me that extra little buffer.
Which that's today. It's raining by you today,
Oh
right?
yeah, yeah. I woke up
Yeah.
this morning. There's a storm coming through. I think around noon it's going to get worse. So I got my manager out there just kind of keeping an eye on it and rearranging some stuff because we can do the commercial routes a little bit later and after dark. It's more pressing on the residentials.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that a little bit because I mean, it's do you call it? Do you not call it? How do you handle like a rainy day?
Every day is played by ear. I still
Okay.
get them to come in, um, but as long as it's safe, you're going to work in the rain. If it's not safe, we're going to play it by ear and just kind of go home. And then everybody's paid hourly here. So I'll do my best to, if I know it's coming and I know it's going to be like all hail or whatever, wind crazy, can't drive in it, I'll try to adjust it the day before or the day after. That way everybody keeps their hours. Basically, you work for me, I work for you kind of setup. So I try to keep them happy and keep their hours because if they don't work, they don't get paid.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. So if say for instance, if you had to skip today because of whatever the situation is, do you fully skip it, do double duty next week, or are you pushing it back?
I'll push it back till Friday. Knock on wood, but we have never had to not do service. I've always figured out a way to do it, even if it's me taking 3 routes in one day. Like it's going to get done, just because I like to see those numbers pop up in the bank.
Oh yeah.
Because we're postpaid, so I know most people hate postpaid, but uh, so we kind of stick to that. I don't want to do the only thing with prepaid, postpaid. I don't want to do refunds if we cannot never make it. We have never not made it, but as soon as I do that, it's going to be that little thing in the back of my head saying, "Hey, it's already prepaid. You've already been paid." So that just does that. But no, we'll kind of merge them into tomorrow, and then just kind of get them knocked out.
Yeah, this morning I seen that it was raining and I go downstairs. My husband's just like lounging because he does tree work. And I was
Yeah,
like, I'm like, what are you doing? Don't you got to go to work? And he's like, dude, they called it yesterday. And so
I remember them
we,
days.
we call it, uh, what is, I don't know. They're made of sugar, right? They can't go out. They can't go outside. And so I always joke around. I'm like, you guys call it all the time before you even try. Us, no way. Like we're gonna go out and we're gonna try. We're gonna see what we can make happen. Then
Oh yeah,
again, we don't have heavy equipment that's gonna tear up people's backyard. So I texted Charles this morning. I was like, "Hey, I know it's raining, but the issue is the rain isn't the problem. It's here when the temperatures start to drop to like the 50s and the 40s mixed with the rain. That's when it's like, is it worth it? Is it not worth it? Because you could get sick type
Yeah.
deal." So I just said, play it by ear because this is his first fall with me. He's my newer scooper. He started in July, and I was like, just play it by ear. If not, we can push it to Friday or we can push it to Saturday. And I think whenever you put in that Saturday, people are like, oh, I want to get it done now because I don't want to have to work the weekend. Because we will. I mean, if we have to, we're going to work because, like you, I don't want to have to skip scoops. I don't because people don't like that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the consistency. I mean, that's typically how we keep everybody is we're always there. We're more reliable than the lawn care usually. And then, so are you on 5 days or 6 day cleanings weeks?
We're on 5 days right now, but, I'm probably gonna actually go back to 4 days because I don't like having to push stuff over into Saturday, and I it's like a repeat cycle for me. We'll do the 4 days, we start to get really busy, I don't hire like I should, bump bump it out to Friday, everything's running smooth until it's not, and then boom, we're working Saturdays. And
Yeah,
then even if I'm not out scooping, if I have, if I have my guy out there scooping, I can't shut down. Like I can't
exactly.
think because what if I've been traumatized this year with the two totals of the vehicles that I'm like on edge. I'm like, is
Yeah,
everything gonna be
just
okay?
waiting on that phone call.
Yeah, and so I gotta quit doing that because I don't wanna manifest something something negative, but I like that you're still running and you're doing the 4 days. So how many houses per hour are your people doing?
So right now we have a full virgin crew. They just kind of it's good and bad at the same time because you can retrain everybody new. You don't have to retrain like old employees to the new way because like you're always going to find little holes in your system, and with these holes, just write them down, and then the next person that comes through, you can kind of fix them as you go or as they come through. So I mean, right now we're pushing probably three, maybe. We're in the process of working on quality over quantity right now. So they're doing double grids just to make sure we have no re-cleans and stuff like that. Because we're fully staffed, we'll have two people, we'll have an operations manager and me to be able to pick up on the backside of the routes if they go too slow or whatever. Um, but yeah, so we're doing that, and then also they're on 4 days a week working, but we totally work Monday through Saturday. So we have that 6 days because it just kind of works better because you have like 2 times a week. You need that even number of how many different sections we have.
Oh, yeah, that does complicate things. So for us, my 2 times a week aren't ideal because it's on like it's like a Tuesday, Friday, or a Monday, Thursday, and I can only offer it in like a few cities that are around like where me and my scoopers live.
Yeah, that's so when I first started, it was on Saturday, and that's just the day that grew. That's the only day I could do it. So I kind of just kept all my Saturday people and built off of there. So I give them kind of, I want to start to where my Saturday crew flip flops with, like, let's just say Wednesday. Like every other Saturday, they work a Wednesday or flip flop, you know. That way they're not working every Saturday, but they're also still working only 4 days a week. So,
That's interesting because if you're working Monday through Friday, right? And you have kids or you have life that you need to take care of, like it's hard to get to the bank, it's hard to get to the doctor, it's hard to do those things that you can only do during
mhm,
the week. So I think that's really interesting for the person that can work a Saturday, have a day off during the week, take care of life.
yeah. Yeah, it helps them. I feel bad for them working on Saturdays, especially like in the summertime, because me and my wife were more the merrier kind of people, and we have a boat, so we're always on the lake. So that's another reason, like you said, that if you're working on a Saturday and you can't shut down. Like I'm always on go, always working, except for Sundays, and usually I feel like I'm still working on Sundays. But so that's where my manager comes in play. Um, just so we can have like the balls can have a day off but still have a running business. So it's kind of like the whole saying is work on the business, not in the business. It's true. You can grow it a whole lot better once you're on the outside looking in.
All right, let's get into that because that's where I'm headed. I'm getting me an operations manager. And so what does your operations manager take care of at this moment?
He takes care of the biggest thing is taking care of all the techs, lock gates, doors out, dogs out, put the dogs in. Basically, he has the tech's phone numbers and the client's phone numbers. He can go through all our, we use Sweep and Go. So he has all the client's information to where he can kind of get all their stuff in an instant if he needs it. Let's see, yesterday I had him kind of change out some cleaning times in the system to where it looks better for our KPIs and stuff like that.
Nice. How
Because
are you tracking? How are you tracking your KPIs?
let's see, I have the yards per hour. I have route duration, which has cleaning time, driving time, which is always a pain because of traffic.
Yeah.
Because we go like south of Charlotte, so we have to drive into Charlotte 2 days a week. Which, if you hit it at the wrong time, you're going to be there for an hour and a half just sitting there.
That was me driving here. That's why I was almost late. Well, I was a couple minutes late. Sorry.
That's fine. But, it's usually me that's late, so. but no, it kind of helps us. He's just I'm trying to figure out stuff for him to do, just because I'm so used to doing it myself. It's just natural. Like
Yeah.
I can do everything on my phone that I can do on the computer. And if somebody calls me saying, "Hey, I need to set a pause on the account for this day to this day," usually I'll just pick it up, find the client, do it. But now I'm like, "Hey, put a pause on this for this date to this date," and just basically delegating all that stuff.
Slowing down to be able to explain it, that's what I really struggled with because I was going to try to train the scooper I had prior to be like that operations manager, but I caught myself being like, "Oh, this is taking too long to like explain it. I can just do it faster." So I kind of like shut that whole thing down. But after talking with Jonathan Potoshnik, he was the original developer of oh god, not I'm a CRM. I can't think of it right now. But he was saying to don't train you don't have to train an operations manager if you don't want to. Go find one that's already operated a company that already knows what they're doing and they can build it out for you. And I'm like, how much does that cost? So I've been kind of like researching online to see like how much that would be because then they can show me what like a true operations manager should be doing because I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah, Chat GPT will help too.
Oh, that's a good idea. Let's jot that down.
Yeah, I bet, because I didn't know either. Because I'm just kind of shooting off the hip with everything that I do. So I just put it in Chat GPT and was like, "Hey, draw me an operations manager job description for a pooper scooper company," and it popped up everything I needed. I mean, I added some stuff and took some stuff out, but it was pretty spot on, and it was my day to day once you got to reading it. Um, but it's pretty wild.
So, what personality type or traits are you looking for an operations manager?
A people person, somebody that's level headed, because you're going to have the easy conversations and you're going to have the hard conversations. And somebody that's had managerial skills before. I had a lead technician he's been here for about a year, and he was a manager at a couple of restaurants before. And we kind of sat down. I was going to do this the first of the year, but it just kind of landed in the right time. So we kind of jumped the gun and threw him in there, and he's doing phenomenal right now. He's taking care of everything basically I don't want to take care of, which is the best. But the guys love him. He's training people. He's trained all my new people because I wanted to get to where I'm a little bit out of it, to where that their point of contact is to go to him, not me. Because they'll always call me with everything that they could call him for,
Right.
which is good for having new people in here, because all the older people would call me just because it's firsthand, second nature to call me.
Okay, so what does that dynamic look like between you and him? I mean, essentially, like you're like handing your baby over to him. So
Yeah, it
how you're
sucks.
releasing that control, man?
It sucks, because I'm very protective over it, because, I hate complaints with customers. Like, you're in the backyard, you might as well be able to do your work. If you're going to spend more than 10 minutes there shouldn't be anything left. But you're going to have the random re-cleans. But he's doing good. I don't have to like micromanage. So I was in construction before, so I'm not going to micromanage just because I was always micromanaged.
Right.
So I know what not to do, and he's on the same page. Like he's not a micromanager, and if he has hard questions, he'll ask me. But like simple day to day, like rearranging routes, re-optimizing them, like calling people, he's on top of it, which is good. And then I know some of the clients very well, so I'll kind of go behind his back, do a little check, like how was this interaction and stuff like that, or just like testing and just be like the other day I said there's somebody new to sign up, and in Sweep and Go you can kind of see like the close client, the client planner, to where you can kind of see who's closest in the routes. And I was like, test, where does this person go? He was like, Thursday, put him on Chelsea Ann. I'm like, okay, sounds good. So it's just random tests like that.
That's solid because routing it's one of, I really do feel like it's one of the most important because that can like make or break your day.
Oh yeah,
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 for sure.
because especially like having new people. Because if you think about it, 5 extra minutes in a yard, and you have 40 yards, that's a lot of time, and it just adds up at the back of the day.
So are your guys doing 40 houses a day?
Uh, some routes are pretty close, just because how dense they are. Some routes are pretty close.
I just can't, like, I can't wrap my head around it because, like, my old scooper could do 30. I don't know if it's just because I'm old. I can't move quick. My attention span's not there. I can't. Like, over 27, I'm like zoned out. I'm probably not even going to scoop a yard. Like, I'm picking up nothing.
Yeah. The worst part's not actually cleaning the yards. It's the in and out of the truck.
Yes,
Like
that's
that's
true.
the worst part. Like if I was on a Segway, it wouldn't be so bad because you just hop on, hop off. But climbing in and out of a truck, getting your stuff, and then just putting the bag in the bucket and then walking to the backyard. That's the hardest part.
I seen these guys yesterday because I was out scooping. They had what is that called? Like a wagon. They had a wagon. They had a leaf blower in it, and then on the side of it, they had racks where they had their leaves. And I was thinking to myself, I'm like, they're just going from stop to stop to stop doing leaves. I took a video. I'm like, there's no excuse. There's no excuse to not start your business, not do your business. Like these guys figured it out. But I'm like, thinking to myself, I'm like, if you had such close route density and you didn't haul the waste away, you could just go from like house to house to house to house to house.
You don't even got to carry it away. Just throw it on the curb. And then once you get the whole road done, come back and pick it up.
That's a really good idea. That's smart. All right. So, like, what's some unexpected challenges that you have faced over the past 6 years?
Oof. Employees, I would put on the top of the page. We've had uh, a few dog bites. Um, And then just your irate customers. I mean, customer service is always number one, but it's hard to do and keep, especially if you got to have those hard emails or hard phone calls when they're still like cussing you out, saying how shitty of a job you did. But no, I would probably say the turnover isn't bad as long you just have to find the right people. Um, but obviously, they may quit on you the night before because this isn't like a professional job to where you have to give a 2 weeks notice kind of set up. So I like a 2 weeks notice. I'm very transparent with my people. So you help me, I help you kind of set up.
Dreaming of starting your own holiday lighting business? Bright Factory has you covered. Introducing the ultimate holiday lighting business in a box. Get ready to light up your community with everything you need to succeed. A complete brand identity, a sleek website, and fully wrapped trailer jam-packed with supplies and equipment. We're talking top-notch uniforms, eye-catching marketing material, and world-class training. Plus, custom videos for your team to ensure they're ready to shine from day one. Ready to turn your holiday lighting dreams into a reality? Visit brightfactory.com today and let Bright Factory light the way to your success.
So, when you're hiring, like, what are you looking for?
How long they've stayed at the job before. If they have a rap sheet of 50 jobs and they've only been in the working force for like 2 years,
Right.
probably not going to be good. Anything outside, I know usually when I do my applications and well, resume, whatever, look at them. It's more like you have your landscapers, mosquito people, and then you'll have like vet techs, and like sometimes you'll have like people coming from pet boarding, and then I've had like doctors and physicians, and like, what do you do? What are you actually doing? Like, you don't want this. So, not to kind of pick those just because they're trying to get somebody that's going to be a week or 2 week job. And it takes 2 weeks, 3 weeks to get somebody comfortable to go by themselves. So then you have to restart.
Yeah. Have you ever like overhired? You're like, okay, I need to hire one person, so I'm going to bring like two or three in. So hopefully one stays. Let's talk about that a little bit.
So that's where my operations manager came in. So that was about 2 months ago. So leading up to this, we planned a trip to go to Mexico for Thanksgiving, right? So I had the perfect amount of people, and I had one person leaving, moving. So I was like, all right, so get somebody in here. Well, it turned into three people leaving at the same time. And I couldn't get this person hired because I couldn't find somebody. So we were 3 people short going into a weekend. Well, by Monday, I have no idea what happened or what I put together. I was one person overstaffed on Monday. So I kept everybody and I just kind of ran with it. And that's whenever I figured out my operations manager, didn't have a route. And I was like, well, we're about to transition into this position a little faster. So I did all that and we kept everybody. And that's kind of how the new crew popped up. So yeah, it's worked so far. I have no idea how, but it's worked.
No, that's sweet because hiring's tough. Like I know I was going through application because if I upload something, I don't know about you. Where do you post at for the?
We're on Indeed.
Okay,
I've found a couple people off Facebook, but most people on Facebook, you kind of know of them. I've had a few good employees off of Facebook, but the rest of them it's just like, nah, I remember you in high school, bro. Ain't gonna work.
facts. What was I going to ask about Indeed? Oh, so obviously people live lives, right? And if you get somebody that's a little bit older, maybe they have a driving issue on their record, or maybe they went to jail once because of whatever. Is there kind of talk about that a little bit? Like, will you hire anybody that maybe has had previous charges, or is there something that you won't hire?
Um, yeah, I mean, I've had everywhere in between. The only thing on background checks I look for is a thief or if you're like on the pedophile list. Because I can't send you in the back of these yards, but my clients know, hey, this is a reliable company, and they like vet all their texts. That's the only thing I look for that can kind of hurt the company, and you know that it can. I know people change, but then again, it's there for a reason. But like rap sheets and stuff like that, everybody's had a past, but there's only two big things that I look for. And then driving records, I usually send everything to my insurance guy. And he's just like, if they're on SR22 or driving under suspension and gotten caught, it's a no. Anything else is pretty good. You can work with it.
Yeah, that's true. So I didn't ask that question very good. So thank you for being able to decipher what I was asking. But I'm very similar. If there's any like B&E, anything physical or the kid stuff, no, absolutely not. But yeah, if you've had, I don't know, if you've had a drug charge or something's happened, like whatever, I will look past that because it is like it's hard to find somebody, right? That wants to do this position, that wants to work outside, they want to beat their body up, that wants to scoop dog poop, that doesn't have like something, like
Yeah.
a ticket, or some sorts. But I had one guy that I got in and everything was fine. I thought everything was fine. And then my insurance company was like, hey, he's got issues with his license. He got a DUI 20 years ago and never took care of the paperwork.
Oh, wow.
So he's been on like a restricted, suspended license, whatever it may be, for like forever. And that should have been a red flag right there that he's like a procrastinator. There's going to be issues.
Yeah. I had the same thing. I had a perfect tech. He was like the one you wanted. But I don't know how he did not know, but his driver's license was suspended. And I didn't find it whenever I pulled the driving record because I guess it was so new.
Ah.
I think it was something weird between South Carolina and North Carolina, didn't communicate, whatever. But my insurance guy was like, you got about 20 minutes to get him out of your truck. I'm like, okay. And he was like 30 minutes away. So I called him and he knew exactly what it was for. Cause I mean, he knew. And I was like, look, this is out of my hands. Like, you got to bring the truck back. I'm sorry. And it was driving under suspension. And that was kind of like the same thing because they'll shut down your whole policy if they have that on there and they kind of go through their whole audit and all that stuff.
Yeah, those audits are no joke. Like I don't know about you, but I get audited every year. I mean, I think that's pretty standard. Yeah, every year I get audited. It's always around the same time. And I'm like, I reach out to my like everybody, like my payroll people, my insurance people, and then also my CPA. I'm like, you got to do this. Do all the paperwork because it takes me way too long to do it.
Oh yeah,
Um,
that's what they're for.
yeah, it takes forever.
Yeah, of
But
course.
with this guy, I was like, okay, I really, really need you. I'm desperate. You're willing to work because I didn't really know how to hire at the time. I literally helped him figure out how we got insurance for him and like an LLC for him so he could be a subcontractor. I figured out how to do payment. Like I did so much just so I could have him on staff. And I look back at that, I'm like, Erica,
What are you doing?
you could have spent that. Yeah, you could have spent that energy trying to find a new technician.
Yeah. So I guess all yours are 1099s.
No, they're all W-2, but I needed to make an exception for him so he
Mm.
could drive his own vehicle, put a magnet on it, and I didn't put like Croup and Spoop and Scoop and magnet on there. I put dog waste removal just in my brand color on his car because he was a subcontractor. And it only lasted for a hot minute before there was quality issues. It was like one of those things where I'm like, "Hey, you missed a pile." He's like, "I missed one pile. It's not that big of a deal." I'm like, "No, it is because our customer is upset. You have to
Yeah.
go back." And he's like, "Oh, I really have to go back for that?" Yes. Yes, you do. So I get it with employees and then just as we grow in business, I'm sure we grow. So like was there like a pivotal moment where you kind of like unlock different levels of thinking from going when you first started versus now?
Yes, actually, because it was part time the first 2 years. So it was like to me, it was just like an extra side money, and then I started making more than what I was making at my construction job. So the wife was like, "You got to figure out something," because I was working on cranes, and I was also taking Poop Scooping Company phone calls on top of cranes. So I did that, and then just kind of went full time from there. And then every 100 client is usually like my goal. Once you get to that goal, kind of push through it. Like every year, you'll have the extra 100 clients, you know. Um, but every year, I try to do something different. Like this year, I started like a business coaching class. So that's been helpful. And it's just kind of opened your eyes up to different stuff about working on the business to grow.
When you were talking about you came from construction, let's talk about that a little bit. So you're in construction. That's a manly job, right? You're
Yeah.
doing like super manly things. And then with poop scooping, it's not construction, it's not tree service, it's not like big dog stuff. What was that like internally, like being humble about it? Like how did that mindset go for you?
It was hard. It was definitely hard. I mean, it's kind of like you're coming from, like you said, the manliest manly construction job. Then you're going out here to pick up dog poop, which in return, like you would think about it as an embarrassing job. So I kind of stuck that in my head. But once I just kind of owned it and I'm the dog shit guy, I mean, there's no end to it then. Um, but no, everybody sees how successful we are, which helps me.
I don't know, just be humble and own being the pooper scooper person because like you said, people don't not all people respect it. They look down on it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, let's talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, coming from construction, it's the mainly job. So then you have to go into the humbling experience of being a pooper scooper, which sometimes can be embarrassing because you're the one picking up dog poop. Everybody kind of still frowns upon it, thinks people are lazy and all that stuff. But it's in a bigger world, it's a luxury service. Kind of like if somebody came through and deep cleaned your house. Like you can clean your house, but do you want to?
Nope.
I mean, even I have somebody that comes through and cleans my house. I can do it, but it's just a luxury service that is needed. It's job security. Dogs are always going to poop, even 3 times a day. So, and then after COVID, everybody got dogs. COVID was our biggest year.
Yeah,
So
the pet economy is huge. And what's the purpose of having a business, right? To solve a problem. And
exactly,
dogs are always pooping. And, you know, I I can't say that I was ever embarrassed because I just was like unapologetic. I was starving to get out of the hospital. Like I needed to get out of my hospital job so bad. I was willing to do anything to literally get out of there. So when I started, I was like, I would tell everybody and anybody. And there were a couple situations where I would have conversations with women and they would like look down their nose at me. And this recently happened at like a chamber of commerce meeting. I was like, oh, scoop dog poop. She's like, no, you don't. I'm like, "No, I do. Like, that's what our business is." She's like, "There's not businesses like that." I'm like, "Oh, but there is." And so I wasn't very welcomed into like that circle of people. And I'm like, I could have let that beat me down, but I'm just like, well, she's not my ideal person. Move on to the next.
yeah,
And my husband, like we talked about earlier, like he does tree work. He goes way, way high up in those trees. And anytime people talk to him, they're like amazed, right? Like I can't believe you do that. That's amazing. And he'll help me scoop dog poop. And he treats dog poop just the same as he would the tree service. And he really showed me that it's like, don't be embarrassed. You're out here, you're doing your thing. You should be like, respect yourself, respect the business. And I'm really glad that he was like, he don't care. Like, because he
yeah,
doesn't have an ego like that.
yeah. I mean, that same thing. Like starting this business class, it's a big global community of like $1 million businesses inside of this thing. And like we're in the accelerator program to get you there. And then you have like all these networking events and stuff like that. And you have to explain like in front of 100, 200 people, like what you do. So I'm not a good spokesperson to myself. So let alone in front of 200 people that I don't even know with like millions of dollars in business. So I'm sitting there like, hey, Scoop Brothers, we're Pooper Scooper, residential and commercial. And they're like, you do what? But by the time it's the same concept in every business, it's just different stuff that you're selling. And my processes and procedures kind of help out other businesses that we talk to, and they help me. Like you got to put yourself in around the people that you want to be like like what they say, you need to be the dumbest one in the room, kind of, and that's literally how you grow. Just kind of they've already been through the whole process and the problem solving and all that. It might be little in the poop scooping business, but them little things kind of add up.
So I don't know if you watched the recent video that I uploaded. I just uploaded it a couple days ago, but I was talking about that. I was talking about like jealousy, and the reason is because I put myself into rooms where I'm the dumbest person, and I find myself being back to like that insecure Erica, like not knowing. Um, and working through that mindset, because the way to move forward, like you said, is to get around these people that have been there, done that, so then
Mm.
they're able to like uplift you. um so like how are you navigating being around a bunch of people that are like huge, like way larger in business than you?
Yeah, I mean, I try to I try to stay level headed and learn as much as possible. It's hard to because there's so much that you don't know. Just kind of so each time I go to these things, I kind of pick off something that I keep and I try to run with it. Note taking and actually making contacts, talking to different people. Like the way that we have it, we have a small group that we meet every month, and then we have like every quarter we meet everybody outside of your small group. It's pretty easy to stick to people that you know that you talk to every month. But the thing is, like, you have to get outside that group because there's more ideas, there's more businesses. And there might be even people that you can partner with. Like there might be dog food companies in this thing, or a pet store or something, like pet boarding. And then you can kind of piggyback off of them. They have clientele, you have clientele, everybody helps everybody.
How did you find this networking?
I got a mutual friend that was in the electrical business, and he just kind of raved about it, and I kind of seen how he grew. So I just kind of dove into it and tried it out.
Is it expensive to get into?
It's not bad. I think it was
Okay.
like maybe $5,000, $6,000 a year.
Yeah. Well, some people listening might be like, "Oh my gosh, that's so much money." But if you
Got
can't
to pay your
afford
way.
right, if you can't afford something like that yet, find something that you can afford, right?
Yeah.
And then just kind of like work your way up. And from what I've learned, I'm learning from you, I'm learning from William and Levi. Like you said, pay to play.
Oh,
Pay
yeah,
to get into the rooms that you need to get into.
exactly. I mean, if you don't, you're not going to learn, and they're not going to come find you.
Nope.
You're just another person on the totem pole. Like, you have to actually want it.
Oh, I love that. I love that. So, all right. So, you've been in business for 6 years. You're spending time growing, learning more because you really want to expand your business. What's your next big goal? What are you trying to get into?
Probably uh, with the Poop Scooping Company, I would probably say just different locations. We'll probably do more locations, but we just kind of trying to get my operations manager set here. That way I know for sure that we have a system that can work and be easy to just place them around. But yeah, other than that, I mean, we dabble in a few other things. Like we got rental houses. I mean, we're always doing stuff. We got a jet ski rental business. So we're always doing something.
How do you balance all of that?
I don't just do it. uh,
Yes.
yeah, you just have to do it. So the rental houses is my wife's thing. She's in property management. So it's secondhand to her. She can just come up with contracts, put somebody in a house and fix it if it needs fixing. The jet ski rentals, we're on the lake every weekend anyways. So if we have a buddy that I'm in business with it, and he has a lake house that's next to the dock. So it just kind of it makes it easy. And then again, I would have never did that if I had never met them, like networking. So there again, networking always works.
I guess that's going to kind of set up my next question. So, this is like a two-part. If you were to give advice to somebody that is just getting started, they're still under their 100 customers, what's one word of advice you'd give to them?
Branding.
Okay. I agree. Both of us have pretty strong branding.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
you have to. I mean, like I have bright green trucks, and I can see them coming down the other side of the interstate. And there's only like I think there's like Serve Pro, which is like a mediation or a remodeling company that's green. But that's it. You don't see lime green trucks. And once you see a lime green truck, like out of the corner of your eye, Scoop Brothers.
Yep. And that's same thing with Croup and Spoop and Scoop. And I told myself, I was like, when people see this pink vehicle, I want them to think of my business. Like, and
I
they
love it.
do. I'm getting tagged. People are doing Christmas lights in pink. I'm getting tagged. It's like, I'm like,
Oh
it's
yeah.
finally, like, it's taken some time, but it's getting there.
Just
All
think
right.
about did you get the Colorado? Is that what you got? The
Yeah,
new
I got
truck?
the 2020 Colorado. Yeah. And then I
Yeah.
have Honda HRVs. Those are the cars that I like.
Okay.
We have those wrapped too.
I wish we could do transit vans, like the little mini transit vans.
Do it.
But will we haul away? It would kind of stink.
That would be. Yeah. Okay. All right. And then let's say, for instance, you have somebody that is one or two paces behind you in business. What is the one word of advice you'd give to them?
I would probably say work on getting out of the business. Work on the business, not in it, because you already have the processes. You know what to do. You know how it works. Just fix it, because there's a hole in there somewhere.
Hmm.
You just got to find it, and you won't ever find it until you have your team running, and you're like, "Oh shit, I need to fix that." And then once you fix that one issue, it's just repetitive after that, repetitive.
That's good. That's good. Um, yeah. Is there anything that we didn't cover that you kind of wanted to talk about? Maybe give to the listeners.
What about a random job? Like, have you ever had a random call? Because I had one at 6:30 this morning, right?
Tell me about it.
Yeah, I was at the gym and this lady calls me and she was like, "Hey, I got an emergency cleaning." I'm like, "Okay." At 6:30? And she's like, "Yeah, absolutely." I'm like, "Okay." Well, it's a retirement community, so they've been awake for 4 hours, anyways. Well, she's watching her son's dogs. It had diarrhea, all in the basement, and I'm trying to put this on another company, you know, but nobody can go inside. Like nobody goes inside houses.
No.
It's long story short, I told her what to do and send me a video, send me a picture. Because, I'm like in the middle of the gym set. Like, just stop talking to me right now. So she sends me a video and it's like 6 turds, maybe. Maybe. Like, I've seen way worse in a yard. So I kind of told her, I was like, look, just throw cat litter over it, put some Febreze or something over it. That way it doesn't get upstairs. And then just wait for your son to go home tomorrow. She's like, that's a good idea. I'm going to do that. I'm like, okay.
That's a good one. I've never had that, but way to problem solve. You just created like a good experience. So now moving forward, if people are looking for a pooper scooper, that person's probably going to rave about you.
Yeah, that's what she said. She's like, you've been such a good help. I'm like, "Well, you're welcome. Hopefully it works. But
Yeah, hopefully. Me, I don't know. We've had like the emergency scoop where like a landlord was coming over. They needed to like get a scoop done. But most recently, I personally, I blew out two discs in my back, my L4 and my L5, and yeah, my back's in rough shape. And then I'm down to one scooper because my other scooper, she got a really awesome job, and then my other scooper totaled out two of my cars. And I was like, "Am I gonna have a business at the end of the year? I don't know. We'll see what happens." Um, and so I needed to cut a service area because there's this one area that's pretty far out. It's just too far of a drive for the amount of houses we have. We only have like 12 or 13 in the area. So I decided I was like, "All right, I'm not going to be able to rehire quick enough. I can't do these country properties." I had the staff send out a letter explaining like we have to cut your service area, why we had to cut the service area and what to expect, and here's a resource for another scooper that can service your area. I have one woman, she is so mad. Like she is mad, mad. And she's like, I don't understand why you would just drop me. I'm a great customer. Um, I would have waited. I'm like, you would wait 3 to 6 months? Like, I would never think that somebody would wait that long for us. And she's like, yeah, yeah, I would have waited, but you just dropped me. And so now she's like writing comments on all of my posts online and stuff that I have recorded from like months ago. She's like, well, you're uploading new footage and you dropped me, so you're taking new customers, and now I feel like I have to explain, but I need to have a phone conversation with her and try to de-escalate her because she feels rejected. Like she feels like we just dropped her, which we did. It was pretty abrupt, but
you're running a business.
yeah, and I did try to go out there and scoop, and I felt my back pulling, and my doctor was like, "Listen, the people that don't handle this right away are the people that have these disc issues for the rest of their life. If you take care of it right now, you take the time off and you heal your back, you'll be okay." So I just had to make the decision for myself, but in turn, now I have this, pretty irate customer. She's like, "You didn't communicate." So I pulled up the screenshots through Jobber because all of our customer communication is shown. I have the phone calls, I have all of it. And I uploaded the picture. I said, "We communicated." She's like, "Well, I didn't receive any of those." I'm like,
They
and
never did.
I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, there's a difference between you not checking your messages and us not sending it. But I'm like, don't do it, Erica, because you don't want to do this publicly. So I need to call her today and actually have that warm voice conversation and try to get her to not be so upset because a person that's happy with you will tell a few people. A person that is upset with you is going to tell everybody and their mom.
Oh yeah.
So I gotta I don't know, I gotta like neutralize this.
Yeah, that's just hard conversations. It's easy. You just got to pick up the phone and call them, but it sounds easy. It does sound easy, but
Yeah.
But
Because my
yeah,
virtual assistant had the conversation with her and she's like, "This woman is a toughie." I'm like, "All right." So I was listening to Never Split the Difference this morning, trying to work on like my responses because that guy's like a negotiator for I don't know for whatever. He negotiates people that are held up hostage in like banks and stuff.
yeah.
I'm like, all right, I'm gonna tackle her with these questions and these responses.
No, I usually turn on some music. It's usually either Biggie Smalls or MGK, and just kind of go hardcore at it.
All right. Well, I don't think I listened to any of that. I'm more in like right now I'm really trying to get my faith on, so I've been listening to a lot of Christian music.
Yeah.
It was funny, I was at the gym, not today cuz I slept in. I decided I needed to sleep today. But anyways, I was at the gym and I was listening to some like good wholesome Christian music and then my AirPod died and the gym was playing the most ratchetest music ever. I just started laughing. I'm like, I'm in my own little world over here, not even realizing what's
I don't
going
even
on.
know. Yeah.
All right. Well, this was really cool. I truly appreciate it. Where can the listeners find you if they want to keep in touch?
So we got our Facebook page, Scoop Brothers Canine Waste Removal, and also Instagram, and then the website, the phone number. So that's it. That's all I got
All right.
socially.
You guys, don't be calling him at 6:30 a.m. He's at the gym, okay?
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I truly appreciate it.
Thank
We
you.
try to, you're welcome. We try to drop a new episode every Monday. And until next time, bye.
See ya.